I've been reviewing the instruction sheet a little bit, and I have already been made aware that I might need to come up with a new attachment method for the wind wings. And what they are saying is that you just invert from this style of mounting and put the hinges forward and have them pivot the other way, and that way that the top and the side windows will fit against this surface. But I am using the factory 5 supplied wind wing mounts, and you can see that they're kind of a U-clamp that goes over the edge of the support bar for the windshield. Well, I can't just easily move those to the front side because there's no gap here. So I'm going to probably have to either come up with a different block to mount the wind wing to the side, or come up with something else. So that's problem number 1 so far. Problem number 2, I'm running Sun Visors. And the Sun Visors attach to L brackets that are attached to the windshield frame, and then very similar kind of a U-shaped clamp with a set screw that screws to that L bracket. Well, the soft top header bow, as they call it, is a U channel that drops over the top of the windshield frame. It can't drop over the top of the windshield with the sun visors in place. So I either have to remove the sun visors or come up with an alternate way of mounting them. So, and then as well, I have my rear view mirror, which I made this little bracket for, and then put a channel or a strip of metal with threads in this windshield channel, and that's what this screws down into. So I may have to relocate or re-engineer my rear view mirror mount, or move it to the more conventional or original location on the top of the dash cowling. So there's several things that right off the get-go need a little bit of attention. So I am going to research this a little bit, maybe talk to some people, and see what some solutions are. Stay tuned. I was able to get a hold of tech support at Whitby Motor Cars and talk to one of their people there, and they told me that the solution for the sun visors is a very simple one, and it is to just invert your mounting tabs from the usual position and turn them upside down so the tabs are downward instead of pointing up. So we're gonna attach those back on real quick here and see what happens. So we'll pop the header bow off, slide it over to where it lifts out. And then I previously had my, see how these are shaped? I had these with the little tab going upward, which obviously fouls the installation of the header bow. So I'm going to try, and I'm going to remount these with the tab down. You have to be careful. These are some very small machine screws. Windshield frame is brass. You do not want to cross thread or strip it. This is hand tool only zone here. And when I remount these permanently, I will probably put a small dot of Loctite blue on them, because you can't really torque them very hard because it is brass and you don't want them vibrating loose. but I'm just going to give them a little twist here. Okay, so now they are down. Here's our windshield bow. Get the mushroom clip in there, fit this over, and what do you know? Tabs stick down far enough. And we're back with the sun visor. The sun visors will attach right back to where they were. They'll just be a little bit lower. So there, that little problem is solved. So I'm going to reattach these tabs permanently with a little bit of Loctite, and we'll continue. As I mentioned earlier, Whitby recommends that you just install your sun visor clips or attachment tabs, call it upside down. So I am going to do that now, and I am going to put just the tiniest drop of blue Loctite on the threads of the screw. I don't even know if you can see the screw. I think it's a 440. Try to put the tiniest drop of Loctite on. And even the tiniest drop is enough for two screws. And these are very small screws threading into brass, so you need to be careful and do not over torque. And make sure that the threads start. It should take no effort to thread these in and get them started correctly. And then they don't take much more than snug and a little bit of twist. You do not have to have eaten your Wheaties this morning to install these. I'll continue with the other three. Two down, two to go. I've got a towel down on the seat so I can, one, not drip Loctite onto the seat or the upholstery, and two, because these are so tiny, even the smallest little blob is almost too much, so I can just touch it with the towel to remove the excess. But most definitely leave the power tools in the toolbox. This is a hand operation. Okay, that little job is done. And the top bows fit right over the top of the brackets. And there was plenty of clearance to clamp the sun visors back on. One problem solved. Okay, I'm going to reattach my sun visor to see what the fit is like. And I'm going to loosen the pivot screw, or I should say the pivot nut, just a little bit. I want these to kind of flop a little bit. And there is a reason for that, because this is not in a straight line or a straight plane, and the hinges kind of are. They're expecting to be on a straight line or a straight plane. So I'm going to put the brackets in the centers of the tabs as best I can. Just very gently snug them down. And see, that one was a little off, so try to split the difference. Just very gently snug them for right now. And so that, just with the misalignment between the pivot points, me loosening those pivot nuts, and now that they're misaligned slightly, there's a bit of bind in this and enough friction to hold it in position. But you don't want these too tight, because these plexiglass visors will just snap. So I'm just going to wiggle these around a little bit, see if I could get this into what I like to call its happy place. And then I will tighten down the clamp screws to their final tight, which isn't much. Snug and a little tweak. And there we go. Got my sun visors back on. And now the real test. Take the header bow, hook it in the channel, drop it over. And this was going to be my point of contention, is with the header all the way down, it does not contact the hinge block. There is clearance there, quite a bit, between a 1/16 and an 1/8 of an inch. So that will give me enough clearance if I choose to wrap the soft top fabric all the way around this bow and then wrap it in the channel and then around this face so it's clean looking inside the car. This will just be the black fabric. I can do that. I have enough clearance for the fabric between the sun visor hinges in this area and that area. Let's drop the driver's side on and see what we get on there. Same situation on the driver's side. It's a little tighter on the outboard bracket, but same clearance on the inside bracket. So I think we're good to go on these. One problem solved.